Hey friends, this is Sean Washburn from YourExcelTutor.com, and you're watching 30 Tips in 30 Days. And today on day 8, we're going to be talking about sheet tabs and all that you can do with them. So we won't cover everything. There's some other aspects of sheet tabs that we won't cover for till another tip down the road for protecting sheets and things like that. But if you go down here, usually when you open a file, it'll tell you, you have 3 sheet tabs down here. There's actually that might be another video is how you can change the defaults and only have 1 sheet tab if you find that you just use one all the time. But they'll usually come in there. You'll have sheet 1, 2, 3. So if you right click here like before with the column and row headers, you've got insert, delete, rename, move copy, view code. That gets into Visual Basic and macro stuff, protecting the sheet, color, hide, and selecting all sheets. So first thing, let's go ahead and if you click this plus, that'll create a new sheet. So let's get 3 sheets in here. First thing is, so inserting is kind of like what we just did. It's just going to insert a new sheet. Delete, you right click and delete, just like it sounds. So we'll create that one back in there. Notice that it named it sheet 4 when we did that. And then move or copy, that's one that I use a lot. And this is so if you right click that, you can either move it, it's kind of funny, you can, if you click and drag this thing, you can move it wherever you want. So if you're just trying to move it within this sheet, this file, you may not need it, but you could also have 20 different, I've seen this before, 20 or so different tabs in here, and you want to move it between particular ones, and you don't see them all on here. So it could be a little easier to do it this way. But another way, the way I usually use this is if I want to move this tab or copy it usually into another file. So I've got a tab, like maybe this tab, and I want to move these contacts into another file and not instead of just copying and pasting. So if I open the other file up and I come in here and I say move or copy, and I can pick that other file, so I'll pick, or maybe a new book, a new file. And I can say copy. If you don't say copy, it's actually going to move it out of your file. So you want to make sure you copy, unless there's a reason you want to move it out. Hit OK, and then it'll move that out. So move and copy, protect sheet. We won't get to that yet, but tab color is nice. So if you have certain tabs for certain things, you can color them. So let's make this one orange. And then when you're off that tab, that's where it really shows up. If you're selecting that tab, it's a little lighter. You can't see it as well. But let's make this one orange too. And then now, that can be a nice way to identify which tabs are for certain things. If it's like some budgeting or finance sheet or whatever, you could designate stuff like that. The thing I like too, so this kind of like the columns and rows, you can hide sheets or hide tabs. And so we could hide that. And it's a little tricky because it's almost worse than the columns where you don't even see that it's not there. So it's not like A, B, D where you know that C is gone. When you look down here, you don't even know that a sheet is missing. So if you right click, you'll see unhide. You can go in here and select it, and you'll notice that if I right click now, there's no unhide option. So that's one thing you could do. Like if you get a new file, or even if it's your own file, I've hidden my own tabs and forgot that I had them hidden. If you go in and you right click at the bottom, if unhide is grayed out, that means everything's shown. If it's not, you come in here, you hide this again, you hit unhide, and you'll see everything available. You do have to click on them one at a time, which is kind of cumbersome, but hopefully you won't have a ton of them hidden. But it's a nice option to have. And then the final thing is selecting all sheets. And so what's nice, you can either do this, I can hold down, if I want to select all of them together, I can either do this and select like this with right click, or if I hold down shift, I can select here, hold down shift, and go to the end, and it'll select. If I only want to select maybe 2 out of the whole group, and there's a bunch of other ones, what I can do is I can hold down control, and then just pick the ones that I want. So maybe just those 2. There's a couple things you can do with that. One is that lets you, if you want to print those out, now you'll print all those sheets out. You don't have to go to one sheet, then print it out, go to another sheet, print it out. You do have to be careful because the formatting, you may have sheets that have totally different formatting, one's in landscape and one's in portrait, and it's going to have trouble getting those all potentially have trouble getting those all the way you want them. So you have to be careful with that. One thing that is kind of cool is I could select these all, and you just have to be careful. It's like a lot of things in Excel. You have to be careful. Once you have them selected together, anything I type in here, so if I type in a word, let's say the word, we'll just type that in. If you go to these other tabs, it did the same thing in all the tabs, which is crazy. The first time I saw that, I'm like, I couldn't believe it. You just have to be careful, because if you have these selected, and I've done this, because this one is the one that's still shown, they're all selected, and I just start doing stuff on this one, and meanwhile it's doing all the same things to the other one. So if I delete out a bunch of text or whatever, it's doing that to all the other ones, and I don't even realize it. So you can kind of get yourself in trouble. But if you do want to do the same thing on all of them, like let's say I want to make this top row yellow. That's not yellow. How about yellow? Now I come in here and it did the same thing to all of them. So it can be useful. You just have to be careful. And the way to undo, if you have them all selected, if you just click on one of them that's in that group, now they unselect. So there's some things to use with that. Like I say, we're going to get into protecting in another video, because that's really useful for other features, but that's a little more involved. So we'll get to that in another video. But I hope the tips we shared on sheet tabs have been helpful for you, and you can start to use some of these different things to speed up your work and make you more efficient. So thanks. Check in tomorrow for another video.